Man, I'm telling y'all, it's been a nice little while since I did this joint by myself. I usually got my boy Iron Mike Dyson rolling with me, but switching it up, doing a little bit different this time around. This is Tate's Take, where basketball lives, as everybody knows. Let's go ahead and get that pulled up for the people, man, just so you can know exactly what you're listening to, exactly what you're watching. Um, Tate's Take, the podcast, will be available and accessible to any and everyone wherever you find your favorite podcast. That being, i.e., Red Circle, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, the whole nine. On all those different platforms. So I appreciate everybody for checking in with me on the day. Got a super stupid lineup that we have for you guys in regards to today. The most recent NBA headlines that has kind of been circling around the league. Uh, Obviously, a lot of people know that Kendrick Perkins replied to some things that Kyrie Irving had to say in regards to the season resuming, and then um, you know it, it, it's just gone what feels like kind of like downhill from there because Kevin Durant gets involved. So he had some choice words for Kendrick Perkins. Draymond Green, I saw, was on uh, First Take, a little different than this. Tate's Take, First Take, a little connection there. In regards to the season resuming and just the type of competitor that he is, we'll get into all that stuff as well. Um, and then just kind of want to know if there's some people that assume what we will see being the Bucks versus one of the LA teams in the NBA Finals once this whole thing gets underway. Now, let me say this first as I get ready to pull this up because I want to let the people know you can always, always, always go and um, leave some comments, questions, some opinions, whatever you like on the bottom of the screen there. As you can see the ticker rolling through, feel free to leave those comments. So if you want to leave some comments, feel free. Obviously, we're going to talk some Vinsanity. Uh, Vince Carter officially retires today. We're going to talk about that in our Roll the Dice segment with my dude Iron Mike Dyson, who's going to be joining us at the 22-minute mark of the 5 o'clock hour. So with that being said, trying to figure out exactly where we should start first. Um, let's start with the stuff that seems like it's been gaining a lot of steam and attention. That being the comments between Kyrie Irving, Kendrick Perkins, and Kevin Durant. Everybody is gonna feel however whatever way they're gonna feel. I think that that's the beautiful part about being in America. That's the beautiful part about um, living in this country is that you can have your freedom of speech and you can decide to include yourself to participate in things or if you choose not to participate in things. I think that that's very important. And so Kyrie Irving, obviously being a person that has exercised his right in saying that he doesn't want to participate. Now, one of the issues that a lot of people may or may not have uh, with Kyrie Irving saying this is that he probably wasn't going to be playing this year anyways, resuming the season regardless. We know that Kevin Durant wasn't going to, whether that be from a knee injury and just also returning back from putting things in motion to be able to return back from testing positive for COVID-19. Nonetheless, that's his obligation. That is his choice on what he wants to do. He feels like that we as a people, being black people, should be working towards capitalizing on some of the racial injustice and social activism that we're witnessing right now in our country. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Now, for Kendrick Perkins to step in, which he's an analyst, so he touches on all of these different things and that happens within the NBA, and obviously this is a very very powerful subject. But he just feels like Kyrie Irving, I guess, wasn't in that place to step out and say, well, you should, that this is the way things should go in regards to the NBA resuming. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Kevin Durant, a teammate currently of Kyrie Irving, former teammate of Kendrick Perkins, basically posting something on social media, calling Kendrick Perkins essentially what was like a clown, but even more so, calling him a sellout for not being in agreement with Kyrie Irving. I watched First Take, which I don't do a ton of, and I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith bring up a very good point that we haven't heard a lot of things in regards to Kevin Durant, with saying that anything outside of the word sellout. So not only is he feeling like Kendrick Perkins, he's dipping himself right in the same pot, if you will, of what's taking place with all of this. I'm not going to say I necessarily have a problem with that, but the problem that I do have is that he's only mentioned sellout. And Stephen A. Smith brought that to attention and made for a very good point in regards to that as well. So here's my thing in regards. Like, if everybody just do what they want to do and not have to be criticized for every little thing, I don't think that there was nothing to criticize Kyrie Irving for necessarily. Kendrick Perkins goes out to say, my wife who made you oxtails to Kevin Durant, she still loves you, even though you call me names, even though, you call me a sellout. We're former teammates. You come over to my house. I've been to your house. You've been to my house and so forth. I don't think that there's nothing wrong with Kevin Durant speaking up and calling him a sellout. It's not my it's not my prerogative. It's not my business to say exactly that Kevin Durant shouldn't have a voice to say what he wants to say if he feels that way, and basically standing in place to take up for his current teammate versus his old teammate. Kendrick Perkins have said some really outlandishly crazy things, specifically calling LeBron James the greatest player of all time, which I disrespectfully agree with. And you don't hear me say that much. Most times I respectfully agree or respectfully disagree, but I disrespectfully disagree on that one. But how my thing is, what is the solution here? Like, what's happening right now is the exact problem that we have a lot of times in the black community, where somebody doesn't agree with something that Kyrie Irving said, which is fine if you don't agree. No big deal. Okay. But to come off almost as if you're criticizing Kyrie Irving, and then for Kevin Durant to turn around and seem as if he's criticizing Kendrick Perkins, it's essentially why we're looked at specifically by whites the way that we do, because it seems as if we're always putting each other down. And I don't think that that's a good look. However, they're entitled to say what they feel. Number one, Kyrie Irving as a basketball player and a very, very intelligent dude, to bring things to the forefront, to stay in the forefront and capitalize while we have the opportunity as blacks to continue making it known that instead of clouding our brains and distracting us with more basketball, to stay on top of this whole racism situation. LeBron James being a person that came out and said, what I do, and let's pull his comments up as well, because I think that that's very telling. LeBron James basically and essentially saying that resuming the season will not affect my ability to inspire meaningful change in society. And my issue with that is that not everybody is LeBron James. LeBron James is trying to chase a ring. I'm not saying that he doesn't think what's happening in the world is very important, but it's clear that he's trying to chase a ring. Trying to, at 3 rings, knowing that he's 3-6 in 9 tries, to try and catch up to the Magic Johnsons, who has 5, the Michael Jordans, who has 6, the Kobe Bryants, who have 5, some of the best players that we've ever seen lace up a pair of gym shoes. However, after looking at it, this could be something that is good for the NBA if they resume the season, because if they know that people are going to maybe not protest in a way that's not quiet or calm and watch basketball, I can only imagine that the NBA as a league will put something in place and out there to where they are promoting yet still voting, number one, and number two, stopping racism. And there will be those eyes on those basketball games because we have nothing else in the hell to watch. So I think that that is a good idea. And coming from LeBron, a person who, like Patrick Beverly, Pat Bev, saying that if LeBron James wants the NBA to resume, the NBA is going to resume. And that's pretty much essentially what it's looking like. But we also have to keep our eyes and our ears open to not just keeping people safe, because you have to remember that there are staff members that will be working outside of player personnel and team personnel and medical staff and so forth that will, granted, be tested every single day for COVID-19 and their temperatures. But a lot of those people have to stay inside of the bubble. There's people that are going to be working specifically in those arenas each game. They have to go home to their families. What are they taking back to their families? Or what are they bringing back to the arena from their homes, where they may not necessarily be one-on-one with players, but it doesn't take much to pick up this whole COVID-19 virus. So that's just another piece. I saw that yesterday was the deadline date, actually, for the NBA players to make a decision on whether they were going to play, June 24th being yesterday. You have players that are talking about not participating, obviously. Trevor Ariza, among so many others. Carmelo Anthony. I think I heard Damian Lillard mention something about not playing weeks ago. And I'm just kind of curious to know where some of you guys stand on some of that, because what's going to happen ultimately is that there will be an asterisk on this season regardless. I've said it many times. All it's going to take is, number one, what we see right now with players choosing not to participate, and even more so, how many players are going to choose to how many players are going to choose not to participate after somebody tests positive for COVID-19. They're just going to get spooked. And I think that's another reason, obviously, behind why while this deadline is in place. The NBA commissioner, and we talked about this just weeks ago on transition points with Tate and Dyson, giving you guys some comments as well. Resuming the season may not be for everyone and will entail enormous sacrifice. Oh, it's going to entail some enormous sacrifices. Believe that. Like, that's something that's going to happen. There's going to be enormous sacrifices despite and regardless. But it's all going to come down to chasing that ring. And Draymond Green, who had some words on First Take saying, hey, I'm a basketball player. I'm a competitor. I want to play. We know that his team won't be playing because the Golden State Warriors have one of the worst records in the league. And obviously where you saw very limited Draymond Green, very limited Steph Curry, didn't see Klay Thompson, who looked like he's about ready to come back as well. But even more so on top of that, acquiring Andrew Wiggins from Minnesota for D'Angelo Russell, you didn't really get to see a bulk of that. He says he wants to play, but everyone is entitled to their own opinions and decisions. And I think that I can't say it any better. Now, some people are going to say, oh, you a homer, or any little thing that Draymond Green say because he went to Michigan State and blah, blah, blah. But that's what it is. That's what we love about this country, is the fact that everyone should be entitled to participate in what they want to. Now, the bigger issue is going to be, where are they at from a money standpoint? Are they going to be taking players' money away for not participating, even if they don't test positive for the COVID? I don't know. I don't know about that, and I don't know that that's right. However, just like my job and your job, 9 to 5 every day, if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. But I know that their contracts and so forth may have something a little bit different to say about that. So feel free to leave a comment below. We talked about Kendrick Perkins and his response to Kevin Durant's sellout comments, which I think is interesting enough. We had a couple people that did chime in a little bit. Troy, and I'm not quite positive exactly of Troy's last name, so you might have to help me out on this one. Blonde, I feel like the G is silent. Let's go with that. Troy Blonde saying what up though, Troy. Appreciate you for checking in, man, supporting and sharing this information, man. Here on Tate's Take is what you guys are watching. And then my dude Oscar Sanchez, how about that? Said their feud is from OKC's days, I think. And granted, it might be from that. They're bringing something totally different into this, and essentially what it's becoming about is not only do we look stupid in the eyes of other people, different races and so forth, but even more so on top of that is the fact that we're these things are that is what's distracting us from getting ahead. Some of the sellout comments, which I said, I'm not terribly pissed about that because people can say and do whatever they want to do and say, but it's one of the reasons why we're looked at the way we are, because it's taking Kyrie Irving's rightful opinion of what's happening and what will happen when the season resumes to a guy being tweeted about his air balls and being a sellout and all this other type of stuff. And I'm just not a fan particularly of that. My dude, Terrence Estelle, I think Terrence is still in Atlanta, a Detroit native. Appreciate you for checking in, saying what up, though. Yeah, got to be a Detroit native if you're saying what up, though. Folks from Detroit only, we don't say sneakers, we don't say tennis shoes and all that. Gym shoes. If you hear somebody say gym shoes and what up, though, you better believe that they from the 313 or one of those surrounding areas, Battle Creek, Saginaw, Flint, Ben Harbor, Lansing, Saginaw, something. Believe that. Moving forward, I told you we got Dice coming up here in a minute. My dude Iron Mike Dyson to talk a little bit about some Vince Carter, who has made the decision that he is going to hang it up. 42 years old, 22 years in the league, the longest that I've ever seen anybody play in the NBA. Say, yeah, he's still in the A. Appreciate you, Terrence. And then, yup, gym shoes. Yeah, that's a Detroit thing. Believe that. Let's get back to some other things that are happening around the NBA right now, and this is something I'm kind of skeptical of. Speaking of the COVID-19, Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic, they call him the Joker, test positive for COVID-19. He's overseas in his respective country and unsure when he'll be able to come back. And that was always one of my biggest questions. I think Luka Doncic also is over in his country. I'm not sure if he's able to come back yet either. Now, he hasn't tested for COVID-19 or anything like that. However, he is one that's overseas and probably really unsure when they'll be able to come back over here to the United States. That in itself is a whole nother ball game, because we could be looking at the Dallas Mavericks maybe without Luka Doncic. I can't imagine them competing and contending. Nikola Jokic being out for the Denver Nuggets, who a lot of people think could have at the beginning of the season make it to the NBA Finals, and end up playing somebody in the East, which most people, the consensus would assume would be the Milwaukee Bucks. And this is apparently what it tends to look like right about now. What are these odds? Will we see Milwaukee against the Lakers and the Clippers? Because I think that the consensus of people really believe that this is what it's going to be, what it's going to look like when we see the NBA Finals roll around. But what if it doesn't? Who are some of those teams that you guys can see that can make it to the NBA Finals, not name the Milwaukee Bucks out of the East? I bet my cousin Keith, who you guys got to go and check out his book, Black Fatherhood. We brought him on weeks ago. You can find that on YouTube as well. Transition Points with Tate and Dice on the YouTube page, or I'll feel free, shoot me a note. DM me, and I'll send you over the link to where you can check that awesome yet hilarious interview with Keith Tate on that, talking about his book Black Fatherhood. And speaking of Michigan, real quick, as I see I just got a notification, the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, clears pro sports to resume in the state of Michigan without fans. So that's huge. That's big. I'm gonna get Iron Mike Dyson on here to come on and talk about that in itself before we get to the Vince Carter stuff, because that's breaking news. I'm in Michigan right now, and it's been all right. It's been a cool trip. The best part's being able to see my family and kick it with them. But in regards to these odds, like, what happens if we don't see the Bucks and the Clippers? What happens if we don't see the Bucks and the Lakers? Because I'm one of the people that took the Lakers. I believe that they're gonna win this thing for Kobe. Very simple. Very just simple and plain. I just think that that's what they're gonna do, and they got the team to do it. You got arguably the best player in the world on your team, the face of the franchise, arguably the most popular franchise in the Los Angeles Lakers. You got the face of this league in LeBron James, who went to what I think like eight straight finals. I mean, who's doing that? Why would you even count somebody like that out? This dude, Iron Mike Dyson, probably got some things to say about that, because I know that he took the Clippers to go. But I'm just kind of curious to know who else might be in contention for the crown as we get ready to bring him up in our special segment. Yep, that's right. It's time for Roll the Dice with Iron Mike Dyson. Be sure to give him a follow on social media. There go my dude. Got them all pulled up, man. At the Delegate 24 on Instagram as well as on Twitter. At the Delegate 24. Iron Mike Dice. Tell me something good, baby. What up?
What up, though? My boy D Tate in Michigan. What's up, fam?
What's good with you, bro? Hey, Governor Gretchen Whitmer clears pro sports to resume in the state of Michigan without fans. Now, let me say this first. I want to prep this, because do you know, maybe not know personally, but are you familiar with Gretchen Whitmer?
Nah, but you just said Michigan's allowed to have games with no fans. So I'm like, is that like a regular Michigan State football game going on? I mean, is that regular in Michigan State area territory? I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead. I don't know her, man.
See, I'm trying to take it to a whole different level, trying to crack a whole different joke. And you want to kill my Sparty for over 72,000 plus on the regular.
Ooh, with the stats. Okay, boy.
Have you ever seen Gretchen Whitmer, the governor, before?
I have not.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to get on your Google search
and
tell me at some point what you rate her between a 1 and a 10. Because she's easy on the eyes. Okay. No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying she's like what was Palin? Was it Sarah Palin, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't half bad looking either, bro. So I just want to throw this out, just a full disclaimer. Like, I'm not saying she's a 10, but I'm not saying she's a 2. Like, she ain't bad. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I have seen her, man. My family thread, my Detroit family thread, they got like a gang of memes and stuff aimed at her. So I wasn't too sure how she looked, man. But she's decent though, bro. Absolutely.
Considering the age, I think I might give her a 7 or a 7.5.
She's definitely not Sarah Palin. I mean, dude, Sarah Palin, they had adult film actresses, you know what I'm saying? What's her name? Lisa Ann. Take on a whole new, like, you know what I'm saying, characters inspired by Sarah Palin, bro. So until we see somebody on X video or Pornhub looking like Gretchen Whitmer, bro, you know what I'm saying, then we'll decide how bad she is, though, man. But I heard a little bit of your Clippers and well, get back to your joke, bro. Go ahead, my bad, man.
No, that was it. It wasn't really much of a joke, bro. I just wanted to see what you was rating her on a 1 through 10. But if you want to ignore the answer, then the question rather, then that's cool. Let's jump into this, because I know we're gonna talk about Vince Carter. We promised that, we teased that with the people, but one of my last segments that I was doing in regards to the NBA resuming was what we were going to see. Everybody thinks that we're going to automatically see the Bucks come out, got the best record in the league, and end up playing, whether it be who I think is going to be the Lakers, you think is going to be the Clippers, one of those two LA teams. But who else do you think can contend with everybody being healthy? With everybody, let's just say everybody has a full healthy roster and everybody's going to be participating, just hypothetically speaking, regardless of the fact that we know that probably won't be the case. Like, who do you see contending to be able to knock one of those teams out, especially where having an answer for who can knock out the Milwaukee Bucks in the East is a lot more complicated than it is the tough West for one of those.
Oh, I love it. I love the question. I love the subject matter for today on Takes, man. For all you little tater tots listening, just to refresh your memory.
And ain't many little tater tots out there. I can tell you that right now. I can promise you that, bro. There ain't no tater tots floating around, bro.
I meant your audience, bro. Not for like the purposes, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, just to refresh your audience then, man, I definitely had, before this season postponed, I had the Clippers and the Raptors for my finals.
That's right. You did say that.
Preview. Yeah, so, but besides that, though, man, I still have Clippers, Raptors for my finals preview, man. But I will say, I'll give you one team on each side that, you know what I'm saying, on the East Coast and the Western Conference that I can see, like, you know, eventually get into the finals if it's not Toronto, LA. For the East, I will say the Boston Celtics, bro. That team is deep. You know what I'm saying? They have a collection of, like, quality stars. They don't have, like, a main all-star or superstar that's putting them on the back, even though you probably could argue that Jason Tatum is that fledgling, next star to blossom. But I like their squad, man. Just off top, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, what's my man, Kimba, you know what I'm saying? And even Enes Kanter, bro. A lot of people sleep on Kanter, bro. Oh, he can't play defense and everything like that. But every time I see him, bro, he's a walking double-double. He gets buckets. He's solid in the paint. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely see Boston doing some work. I love their coaching, man. In the playoffs, especially in the NBA playoffs, coaching has a lot to do with it almost as much as the players, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why you see a lot of upsets in the playoffs, because maybe that team that got upset, they were out-coached by the opposing team. So I love Brad Stevens for Boston, man. So outside of Toronto, I would say Boston. On the Western Conference, I would say the Lakers, man. I did hear you shout out to, like, Kobe, the Lakers. I don't think this Lakers team has much of a connection with Kobe, though, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Kobe retired, he was doing his own thing. Yeah, he's cool with LeBron James and everything, but there's no, like, remnants. There are no, like, ex-teammates or even staff, I want to say, that bridged this team between Kobe's team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the Kobe motivation will be a motivation for LeBron or the Lakers, man. No disrespect to Kobe, my favorite player of all time, arguably, man. But a team to sleep on, though, D-Tate, on the West for me, it's Oklahoma City Thunder, bro. Those boys don't laugh. They got those. I see it in your face, bro. They got playmakers, man. They got, like, if you look at their squad, man, they got like 4 to 5 players that'll give you 20 points a game, bro. Just buckets. You know what I'm saying? SGA, it was a Shy Gilgeous Alexander. He giving you buckets, man. What's my man that used to play for the Hawks with the little tie-dye in his hair, man? Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, he giving you buckets, man. CP3, his first time making the All-Star game this year, like 4 or 5 years. So he's rejuvenated. You know what I'm saying? He's revamped. They got a squad, man. So I can definitely see in this little truncated, shortened season, bro. You know what I'm saying? To finish the season, going to like a whole different playoffs where no team really has home court advantage. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's playing on one centralized location, bro. There's no advantage, man. I can see any team that's getting hot, bro, can just take it, you know what I'm saying, to the distance. But definitely OKC is my sleeper on the West, though. How do you like them apples as you fool around with the whole appearance of the show? Give me that. That's a good 2-shot right there. Give me that 2-shot right there.
Yeah, it's all good. Let me say this, bro. There is one person that does agree with you, that being Terrence Estelle. Who's in Atlanta and from Detroit. So he's agreeing with you in regards to Boston. You mentioned Oklahoma City. That's definite. While I believe that they are, if there's a such thing as most improved team, or over accomplishing. Can't think of really the word of it, but that particular overachieving team.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly the one, not just the one in the West, but in the NBA, if there had to be one, in my opinion. So you got to give them credit with, the dynamic pieces that they have. I definitely respectfully disagree with you on that one. I just can't see somebody like that making it out of the West. As far as the East goes, Boston is the clear cut for me, even over Toronto, especially when you see the way that Jason Tatum has basically taking the NBA by storm in the second half of the season post All-Star. And I know that we didn't see a ton of basketball after All-Star weekend, but it looked like he just clearly took it up to a whole nother level. Now, with that said, I just thought I'm looking at Indiana. I see Indiana with a healthy Victor Oladipo. I think that that's some noise they can make. I know that Malcolm Brogdon just tested positive for the virus and so forth, but we're just talking about fully healthy and everybody playing rosters. I think that they can bust a move and end up eliminating, depending on where the seeding matches up and all that kind of good stuff against over the Toronto Raptors. That's something I really do believe. I want to move forward past that part and get into what we brought you here for.
Okay.
We watch a lot of NBA.
Yes, sir.
I watch a lot of NBA. We watch a lot of NBA. The people watching watch a lot of NBA. 22 years is a long time. Dude been in the league since I was 13 years old, somewhere right up in that range. This dude right here. Let me get ready to bring him up because I had to put up a specific graphic today specifically for this dude.
Okay. And while you bringing that up, man, shout out to TJ Estelle, man. I remember you, TJ, Mo B boy. I think he be teaching
the dance joint, ballroom dancing.
Yeah,
you know TJ?
Yeah, man, come on, man.
My boy know everybody, yo.
I'm worldwide Dyson, man. Worldwide Dyson, man. Come on now.
Hey, none of that surprises me, yo. Yeah, shout out to TJ, man. We appreciate your contributions to the show, TJ. That's for sure.
Let's bring also, up bro, before you bring up the Vince Carter, man, I think Oladipo is undecided right now. He hasn't committed one way or the other in terms of going back to the bubble to continue the season, FYI, man. But besides that, I do love Indiana. I love Sabonis. They're all around too, and I love their coaching, man. So that's a good pick too, Indiana.
No doubt. Love Sabonis. That front court, bro, monstrous. Let's talk about this dude right here. Let's talk about this cat, man. BC, Vince Carter, deciding to hang him up, bro. After all these years, becoming a journeyman, obviously, at the tail end of his season, not really known to be playing with the Hawks or as much. I think, what was it, like Sacramento or definitely Dallas. I know he was in that range. People was questioning whether he was going to end up coming back to the league and decide not to retire, to maybe try and play elsewhere, maybe try and chase a ring. Give me some of your favorite moments or one of your favorite moments, obviously, or your favorite dunks, whatever the case. Not being the one where he jumped over the 7-footer in the Olympics. But give me some Iron Mike on Vince Carter.
Okay, wow, just off top, bro. So since I can't give you the dunk in the Olympics, I'll give you three just off top I can think of. One of my favorite dunks, Vince Carter in the Toronto era, fast break at the old, not Western Forum, but Staples Center, man. It's a fast break. He crosses somebody over, goes down the middle of the lane, and just tomahawk dunks, man. It's so nasty, bro. Then another game was in LA, but against the Clippers, though. It was like a one-handed alley-oop, bro. Like somebody threw him a oop.
I remember that one.
Remember that? It was such a bad oop. He had to cock it back, catch it, cock it back, and just dunk. Oh. It's the length he covered, though, the area he covered, bro. It was go get your arm, bro. I couldn't believe he could extend like that, bro. And then lastly, it was like the Kobe Bryant dunk when he dunked on Ben Wallace in the preseason in UNLV. My third dunk, I would say, then for Vince Carter happened in the preseason in Chapel Hill, bro. Either his second year. I think it was preseason, bro, and he caught the oop from dang, what's my man's name? You probably know. Alvin Williams. He went to Villanova, number 20. He was like the point guard for the Raptors for a while. But anyway, threw him a oop, bro, and he just caught it in the windmilled it, bro, in the ding dong, wearing the Vince Carter Shocks Nike, man. So just the imagery was so awesome to me, bro. But I love Michael Jordan, but I have to be objective, man. Vince Carter, Tate was probably the best in-game dunker I've seen ever. Whew.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say, especially like in-game dunks and so forth like that. I had the opportunity to cover Vince Carter with the Atlanta Hawks for the course of the last 2 years. While he is a guy of many words, all of his words, they count. They're quality. It's detailed. He gives you, I mean, that's arguably for as long as I've been in this business, I'm not sure that there's a better interviewer than somebody like Vince Carter. I was there for his, how many? Oh my goodness. How many?
25,000?
25 grand.
He called him the dunk in the last second.
That's it. 25,000, bro. And we took a picture afterwards. And so I just thought that was, pretty cool within itself to be able to be there and witness that. And not only that, but to also be there to witness when his last game of the season. When the whole COVID-19 breakout and a lot of games were like being canceled and so forth, and they played
against the Knicks,
and they ended up playing that one out until the end, so they didn't cancel it prior. But just to see the way that he went out, I actually thought that it's weird the way he went out because of the COVID-19, and now the Hawks aren't going to be participating in the playoffs, so it ended a little weird. I actually thought that this really wasn't news necessarily that he was retiring. I actually thought that it's already been a thing that he was going to retire, like that he's already retired. So
he announced it prior to the season began, right? Then he announced it like, this will be my last year, my 22nd year in the league will be my last. Yeah, good call. Okay.
Maybe it's official now. I don't really know how that works per se, but Vince Carter. One of my memories that I mean, I've got so many. I'll tell you why I respect him is because he's a guy that I never really gave enough credit to as a jump shooter. Some guys make it in this league and it's like, well, he's an athlete. And I'm not saying he's not a good basketball player, but I just never thought that while he wasn't elite, I never thought that he was really that close to being elite. But then I go back and I see some of the things that he did and some of the numbers that he was putting up, especially Air Canada when he was in Toronto with and without Tracy McGrady. And it was phenomenal, and I couldn't have been a lot more wrong than I was, man. So when you start talking about Vince Carter, the person, even more so, well,
he's a solid dude, man.
His resume is impeccable. You know what I mean?
Super impeccable. He's a good guy, man. You talking about him, the person, man. Just FYI, I know you got total confidence in yourself and your profession as much as you should, man. But you said he was a great interviewee. I believe he's gonna make the transition into like broadcasting media. You know what I'm saying? Following his retirement, man. So that's definitely in the works for him. You say he's a good person, man. I don't know him. I never met him like you, D-Tate. You know what I'm saying? But from the interviews I have seen him conduct, very well spoken. Very opinionated, and I gotta attribute that to his mom. You know what I'm saying? Like coming up and everything, I just saw a lot of stuff. Like his whole family, like rooted him in the right direction. His mom had him in the band. I want to say he was like a trumpeter or something like that in high school. He was in the band. I think basketball, was like a default for him, man. You know what I'm saying? He was like heavily active in school and so forth. His mom had him in the church, man. So he's definitely, like you say, he's a good person as a reflection from his mom. And it's so funny. You mentioned that his last game was against the Knicks in Atlanta. I want to say one of his first games was in Atlanta in the preseason. Remember that game when he dunked on Dikembe Mutombo's rookie year? He kind of looked at him kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? So everything happened full circle for Vince Carter. First game, I want to say in Atlanta, last game in Atlanta. And I think his first year was the strike shortened season in 1999. It was only 50 games. And now his last year is another like shortened season, not because of a strike, but because of a COVID pandemic, man. So everything's full circle with Vince Carter, bro.
That's a nice connection right there. And in a league like this where it's easy to to depreciate somebody like a Vince Carter, not only because he's up in age, but more so because of the fact that there's so many more athletes now than there are basketball players. It kind of seems like it devalues what Vince Carter has brought to the table over the years. When you think about dynamic dunkers, I mean, these are people that look up to Vince. And speaking of looking up to Vince, he was a coach on and off the floor for them, for the Atlanta Hawks over the course of the last 2 years, as I'm sure he was for other organizations as he got older. But you look at how young the Atlanta Hawks are between, Cam Reddish and Trey Young and DeAndre Hunter and all these other guys,
right?
And how young they are. Like, they weren't even born yet when Vince was in the league, and now they were teammates. So that just goes to show. My dude, man, he a frequent visitor of transition points with Tate and Dyson. Of course, Tate's Take, who helped me get a lot of this stuff started, got both of us kind of our first breaks in different avenues in regards to this field.
He's the blog father. That's the blog father right there. That's the blog father.
The blog father right there. I like the way you did that. And of course, he always thinks everything that Iron Mike Dyson says is well played. Well played by Dice, man. So we hear that pretty often. My dude, who's like the father of mine, almost in a sense, man. Will Witherspoon, a good friend of mine, his dad, who kind of embraced me, who's also from Detroit as well. Just commenting and saying Ben Sanders.
Will Witherspoon. You know what I mean? His favorite artist has to be Bill Witherspoon. I know he got that a lot coming up, man. Bill Witherspoon, he's an old soul artist, bro. Just look him up, man. He was the man back in the day. My bad.
If it ain't hoops, I don't know much about it. So I'm glad my boy knows me when he says you might need to go look this up, because you knew my instant reaction is gonna be like, all right, I have no idea who that is.
I'm gonna pull up some songs for you in the minute, bro. You very familiar with his songs, man. His category, man. His discography, bro. But hey, let me ask you one question. I know it's the Take show, D-Take, but did you see this Vince Carter in North Carolina? Like, people say, I didn't see Michael Jordan, him being the GOAT, the greatest of all time in North Carolina. But if you go back, Mike put up 20 points a game a couple years in Carolina. Mike won Player of the Year a couple times, in Carolina. Vince Carter had a successful career in Carolina, but I did not see this happening like that, that transitioning and elevation, from NBA Vince, from college Vince. Did you see that happening?
I can't say that I did. I thought he would be good. I've always been kind of intrigued by the growth of his game. I would have liked to see Vince Carter on some teams with some other players a little bit earlier in his career. And while I do love all those years that he put in Toronto, it's kind of like how we saw Chris Bosh. He played for a nice while in Toronto, but then we saw a different, in a sense, Chris Bosh in regards to how he plays with other players that are elite players. And so I would have liked to see the same thing earlier in Vince's career. Although we did see it with Tracy McGrady and they was out there killing guys, but I would have liked to see him kind of like how you have seen Shaq with a big, or I'm sorry, LeBron with a big on his team, or Kobe with a big. I would have liked to see Vince Carter with a big on his team to see exactly how far they can go.
That's a great point, man. So many great points. You made it even a great point before I asked you the question when you talked about his transition or development with his jump shot, because over time Vince Carter became a hell of a jump shooter. You know what I'm saying? Almost as effective as he was a dunker, he was a great 3-point shooter, man. I think Vince had that 1 year though, D-Tate, with talent though, bro. Remember that 1 year that Toronto made the playoffs before T-Mac left Toronto and went to Orlando? You probably don't remember, but I believe they played the Knicks and lost to the Knicks in '99. Matter of fact, the same season that the Knicks went to the finals, man. But I want to say Toronto made the playoffs, and they had a squad. I want to say they had Muggsy Bogues was on there. Charles Oakley was on the squad. You know what I'm saying? Oak. I want to say Akeem Olajuwon, maybe. People forget that Akeem played, you know what I'm saying? Yep. In Toronto, bro. And Vince, they had a nice squad for that 1 year. They captured lightning in the bottle, then T-Mac dipped, man. But I want to say one thing before you you dip into another subject though, man. Vince Carter, like so, when Michael Jordan retired in 1998 after the second three-peat, D Tate, I feel like the league was in search for his replacement. Who
That's
was
right.
going to who was going to succeed Michael Jordan? And I'll say between like 99 and 2003, the league was looking for that next player. Around 2003, 2004, we knew like Kobe was that guy. But in 4 years, we were looking for that guy. And in that 4 years, bro, you had like a slew, a rotation. I want to say like 5 to 6 players. You had like Kobe, Vince Carter, T Mac, D Wade, Steve Francis, and Allen Iverson. The only reason I put up Iverson because he was giving you buckets, winning scoring titles, all that stuff, man. But just physically, though, man, he didn't fit the bill, though. Kobe always said, if AI was 6'6", he'd probably be like the greatest of all time, bro. And that may be a fact. AI is probably like the best player pound for pound, man. But for like a 4-year stint, though, man, it was like a rotation of 5 to 6 players, man. And out of all those players I named, T Mac, D Wade, and Vince probably gave Kobe like the biggest push to like, what I'm saying, who's gonna be like Michael Jordan's successor, bro. And really for 2 or 3 years, man, there was no wrong answer. I mean, obviously, retroactively, Kobe was the heir apparent to Michael Jordan, man. But for 2 or 3 years, people really thought, is it T Mac? Is it Vince? Is it D Wade? So his name was in that discussion. I just feel so bad for Vince, man, because athletically, he had all the tools. He may have more tools and more athleticism, was probably more talented. Quit blinking and looking funny, bro. He was probably more talented than Kobe Bryant was, bro. But the thing that I don't think Vince had, he didn't have that killer kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, people criticize LeBron for not having that killer kill, man. And I get it, man. But Vince, though, bro, he didn't even have that next gear, that next level. Like, he had the talent to put a team on his back, but I always felt like he didn't want that pressure. He just wanted to, like, be like a complimentary player on the team. He's going to be a good citizen. I don't want that pressure. Don't put the team on my back. Because I feel like when he was thrust in that role in Toronto, bro, he kind of like, I don't know, he folded under the pressure. He needed to leave. I don't think he did well being that main guy. He had main star, primary player potential, but he didn't want that smoke. Why are you looking all crazy for it, bro?
I'm not, bro. I'm just paying attention. But listen, what I'm telling you is that in regards to, first of all, with Allen Iverson, I hear what Kobe's saying in regards to his comments and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Outside of Kobe Bryant, like, first of all, Allen Iverson is one of my favorite players. Most people's favorite player, especially the way he transcended the game culturally. But outside of Kobe Bryant, if we're putting Allen Iverson at the shooting guard position,
mm-hmm.
I think he's a lot closer up there at to number 3 than he is like to number 10 or to number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some of that is considering his size. I'm a small body stature type dude, so I have a whole different kind of respect for him. But over Dwayne Wade, over Vince Carter, over all these guys, I'm definitely taking Allen Iverson. Outside of that fact, I definitely hear you on what you're saying when you're talking about what the league was really looking for after Michael Jordan. And one thing that, while Vince Carter wasn't nearly as talented to where he could have really stepped into that place, I've always been a bigger fan of his than I was of T-Mac. But while they were still looking for who that player was going to be, I believe that Vince Carter gave them that from an electric / just exciting, one of those. He could emulate Michael Jordan in those regards because of how explosive and how exciting, and just the dunks and even just kind of like his attitude in terms of like just competing. He was just like a competitor, and even in days of his career, he still wanted to go out there and compete and could still do it at a high enough level when you start looking at not just how old he is, but just in general. Listening to Vince Carter when the night that Kobe Bryant passed away, I was in the locker room, and he was just kind of talking about how him and Kobe used to go at it. Like, we weren't the best of friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kobe had some words for me, and I had words for Kobe back, but those were, he's like, so I'm not going to get up here, which I loved, because a lot of people went up there and talked about their Kobe Bryant memories and so forth. And a lot of them were just so loving and just like, you know, heartwarming. And while a lot of his were, they were also very real. He gave us some in-depth detail of
Some
what
insight.
it really like with him and Kobe Bryant. Like we weren't the biggest fans of each other, but we appreciated one another because we brought the best out of each other. And I'm not really sure that there was like a ton of guys that Kobe Bryant had that kind of mutual respect for on that type of level. And so to hear Vince Carter say that, I thought was really awesome. Something that I don't know if it would be really awesome or not. You asked me why I was blinking like that. My dude Rob Hamilton said, "You know what I want to see? I want to see DeShaun grow some of that Iron Mike Dice here." Let me tell you something, bro. I gave y'all all quarantine. I gave it my best shot. I feel like me and Dice was looking like twins for a minute, except somebody brought the lawnmower up through the middle of my drink, and it became
lawnmower
permanent.
Man.
The lawnmower.
Yeah,
and it became permanent like that, bro. So hey,
John Deere.
Rob H, I gave it my best shot. I tried to go with the wicked fro, with the Dice fro, and it just Dice still got his hairline. He got the fro. That boy looking full. He can pick it out.
Hey Rob, Tate told me he wanted to get a new tattoo recently. He wanted to get that Michigan State Spartan logo, and he was trying to decide where to get the tattoo. I don't know, bro. You should put it on the side of your head, bro.
Put it in the middle of the dome where I can't grow no hair.
Like a helmet, though. Just put it on the side like a helmet, though. You know what I'm saying? Like the Sparty with the big S, like a football helmet, bro. That would be live.
The old Sparty Gruff logo with the stand and fight on it. Man, we got just a couple minutes left here on Tate's Take, but I want to say this, unless you got anything else, Dice, man, really, really appreciate you, bro, for joining the show and letting the people know that you know that we still pushing. You know what I'm saying? We working things out. Hey, we still pushing, bro. We still grinding away. Dice is gonna be a crazy regular here on Tate's Take, where he's gonna be joining me for many of just different segments. So the transition points ain't with nowhere, but what we're rocking with right now is roll the dice on Tate's Take with Dyson Tate, man. So that's how we doing that dice, man. Without further ado, I really appreciate you for coming on and joining me today, bro, and giving us some really good insight on the NBA and giving us some really good insight on Vince Carter, maybe some things that a lot of people really didn't know. Sharing some stories and your favorite Vince Carter moments. Let the folks know where they can find you on social media.
I appreciate that, man. The folks can find me at the Delegate24. That's my Twitter and Instagram. THEDELEGATE, the number 24, the Delegate24. D Tate. As always, man, a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, man. The show's lit. It's always live. Great subject matter, man. Great engagement with the people, man. Good humor, bro. Yeah, ain't nothing changing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Different name, different title, same people though, bro. Same energy, Doc. So looking forward to my next appearance, man. Thanks for having me on, my boy.
Oh yeah, of course. Before you get up out of here, real quick, are you gonna rate Governor Whitmer? I'm just curious. You don't have to. I'm not forcing your hand. I ain't twisting your arm.
You know
I ain't pulling your chain.
She's good too, but hold on. I think there's another governor out there too, man.
I'm giving her a 7, bro. 7.5, bro. Easy.
Oh boy. Hold on. It's another one. I want to say there's like a California man, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You know what? She's not a governor, man, but she look good too, man. I'm gonna give you girl Whitner.
Just that name alone, bro.
I'm gonna give her like a 6 or a 7, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of people that's living in Michigan right now. I ain't trying to jam them up. Like, oh yeah, you call my governor a 4 or 5? Yeah. The water will never be clean in that case. Oh, did I say that? But look though, bro. Bill Withers though, bro. Bill Withers, man. Bill Withers.
Withers. I thought you said Witherspoon. I know Withers.
Nah. Oh, you know Bill Withers?
I mean, I don't know him personally, but yeah. I'm familiar with Bill Withers.
Okay, cool. That's what it is then, bro. Appreciate.
Okay, 6.5, 7. I ain't mad at that. That's my dude, Iron Mike Dice, man. Appreciate you, Lo. My dude, Iron Mike Dice, for joining the show, man. Just a couple more minutes left here. A couple comments that came around. I want to, before we let some guys know and kind of tease some things that's going to be coming up. really soon here, my dude. Uh, Rob Hamilton said he'll pay for it. I don't know if he's talking about the tattoo or if he's talking about some hair products so that I can grow right in the middle, because I'm telling you, it's over. I'm killing everybody if I can find a way to get that hair to grow in the middle. So appreciate Rob H for joining us on the show and chiming in with us with some comments and some opinions of his own. Like a pops of mine, Will Witherspoon says, "Well done, son. Keep working. You ain't done nothing but your job." So I really appreciate that. I'm overly thankful and grateful. Appreciation of everybody that's got in with us. Terrence Estelle as well. Uh, Terrence Estelle chimed in with us earlier today too. Troy Bland, if I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, and Oscar Sanchez, who did the same thing. Thankful and appreciative. There goes Rob Hamilton saying the tat. Yeah. I wouldn't be against that. Get some Sparty tat going on. No Clemson tats. No Duke Blue Devil tats, Rob Hamilton. Only Sparty tats. He was to contribute. I'm not mad for anybody that want to contribute to the Tate's Take tattoo GoFundMe fund, I guess, if that's what it's called. You're ready to shut it down, but I want to let the people know that what you can look forward to coming up tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. on Tate's Take. We will have Larry Johnson, no, not Grandmama Larry Johnson, from the Charlotte Hornets and the New York Knicks, but the brother of Irvin Magic Johnson. We're going to bring him on to talk about some social injustice and racial injustice and just different things that's going on in the world specifically. In addition to that, some projects that he's been working on, what some of these things that's going on in the current world has been looking like here in the state of Michigan in general and in Lansing, Michigan, even a little bit in California. And unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that Magic Johnson, his brother, obviously has a documentary coming up, a 30 for 30 on ESPN coming up in 2021. So I'm going to pick his brain about that and talk to him a little bit about fatherhood, in which we know that he's a father. And his father has played a really, really huge part and role in his life, along with Irvin's and just the entire family. And with Father's Day just passing this past weekend, we're going to pick his brain a little bit about what all that stuff means to him. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. We'll be right back at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning on Friday, the 26th of June. And then following that, we'll be back on Saturday before we start wrapping things up from the weekend. And then we'll get into some more stuff for next week. So don't forget about tomorrow at 10 a.m. Appreciate everybody for joining me, DeShaun Tate, here on Tate's Take for basketball.